Alright, what is up YouTube? Welcome back to another anime live action video for you guys, as today I actually really wanted to talk about the live action SAO, aka Sword Art Online series that will be coming from Netflix. So yeah, I wanted to talk about the live action Sword Art Online series coming from Netflix today because it actually got announced 4 years ago in 2018. So you can kind of imagine that we're gonna get more information or a trailer or something about it pretty soon. I mean, 4 years is a pretty decent time for it to be in development, and with all the other anime live action projects that Netflix has announced in the years following since, I feel like we're definitely gonna get something about this SAO live action pretty soon. I can just feel it. But yeah, I have yet to make a video about it on the channel, so I really wanted to do that, especially because I like SAO, and I actually really do have high hopes for this live action. But yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit into why that is with this article that came out in the initial announcement that there was going to be an SAO live action. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So yeah, the creator of Altered Carbon, if you guys remember that show that came out on Netflix, it's been a while now. I do remember when Altered Carbon came out, and it's a good choice to have her lead this SAO live action project because Altered Carbon deals with a lot of digitalization and you know, having those themes and that tone already set in a visual medium, having someone with a creative director that's already set in those visual themes to lead this project, I think is already a great choice and great news for this SAO live action project. But yeah, it says here, speaking recently with Collider, Leta Kalogridis, the creator behind Altered Carbon's own novel to Netflix treatment, confirmed that a live action adaptation of the Sword Art Online anime is coming to Netflix. While Kalogridis wrote the pilot and will serve as the executive producer, the series' chief creative role will be shared by veteran TV creators John Zinman and Patrick Massat. And while you may be worried that it'll go the route of the poorly received Death Note live action adaptation, which transplanted the premise in its entirety from Tokyo to Seattle, simultaneously whitewashing characters and cultural substance, Sword Art Online seems off to a better start. In her interview with Collider, Kalogridis said that Netflix was in agreement about casting the main characters Kirito and Asuna as Asian actors. When I sold the show to Netflix, we were all on the same page. They are not interested in whitewashing it, and I am not interested in whitewashing it. In terms of the secondary characters, because the game is meant to be global, the way it's presented in the anime and in light novels, there are secondary characters that clearly are from other parts of the world, like Klein and Agel. To me, it's very obvious when you watch it that you're meant to take that this game spans the globe, but Kirito and Asuna are very clearly located as kids from Japan and Tokyo, if I'm not mistaken. That is what we will be doing because that is the story. They are, in my mind anyway, much like Major Motoko Kusanagi in Ghost in the Shell, defined in part by being seminal characters in an Asian piece of art. That's the first and biggest thing, end quote. From the interview, Kalogridis seems in touch with the show's source material, and hopefully that will extend to showrunners Zinman and Massat as well. Up in the air beyond that is their ability to portray the complex world of Sword Art Online, which spans the setting of near-future Japan and the virtual game world, which is soaked in elements of sword and sorcery. So yeah, that was the initial article. There's also another article I found which came out in December of 2018, which apparently talks about how the SAO live action series will reportedly be dark and give off a Narcos type of feel. Pretty much all it is though is just this guy Yonko Productions, who is pretty well known, especially in the world of leaks and leaked information. I think I saw some stuff about him talking about the cast of Jump Force when originally that was coming out and stuff like that. And I think he's talked about Bleach and other things that I remember hearing about when people were talking about leaks and spoilers and future stuff like that. So yeah, this guy Yonko Productions, pretty much what he had to say was that I heard Netflix wanted SAO to have a Narcos feel and be super dark. Seriously. And then continuing on, Yonko Productions went on to question the live action adaptation in light of Netflix's plans for Cowboy Bebop. So I heard about what Netflix wanted to do the SAO live action series, and it wasn't good. They have a specific idea for the type of content they want, even if it is against the core and spirit of the original, and as such, I don't have a shred of hope for the Cowboy Bebop series. So yeah, that's all the news and information I was able to gather based on articles about the SAO live action series that is coming from Netflix. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. I feel like, to be honest, people sound surprised when they hear, oh, SAO to have a Narcos type of feel and be super dark. Like, that's super unheard of. That's something that I wouldn't typically think of. But to be honest, like, I don't know, I could really easily see that happening because in SAO, there's definitely some moments where it gets a little bit darker. You know, it lingers on that edge of like, oh, this could go really dark, or this has a lot of serious and dark themes in it, you know? And I feel like people don't really want to acknowledge that. Mainly because it's SAO. Like, people hate SAO, and as long as I've known SAO, as long as I've been in the anime community, people have always just hated SAO, and it's kind of frustrating because ever since I watched SAO, I mean, SAO was one of my first like handful of anime that I watched. Like, I really enjoyed it, to be honest. Obviously, I didn't think it was perfect, but I really enjoyed it, and ever since then, like, I've never just gone back on that. But I feel like ever since then, it's just always been people hating on it. I can never really talk about SAO and like the things that I liked about it, the things that it does well, the things that it doesn't do well, because everyone is just like, as soon as they hear the words SAO, they think, oh, it's trash. Like, just immediately they don't acknowledge any good parts of SAO, and it kind of sucks. It's really frustrating, like I said, because I'm just like, dude, SAO has good moments. Like, what do you mean? Like, and especially the action, right? Like, the animation, a lot of the fight scenes are just, you can't deny they're straight fire in SAO. It's crazy because when SAO came out, I remember a lot of people just like really honestly not liking the fact that there's romance in it, you know? Like, a lot of people just like, oh, like, I just want action, and it's just, I don't know. Everyone has their own reasons for hating SAO, but I really enjoyed it. But I mean, honestly, I've kind of always been a fan of it. Like I said, I'm not like on the side of it's perfect, and I think there's definitely flaws within it. But yeah, if you guys want to know more of what I think of SAO, definitely tune into the podcast. I've talked about it a lot on there. So yeah, if you guys want to hear more about my thoughts on SAO, definitely just listen to some of the podcast episodes and you'll hear a little bit more. But yeah, so it's kind of weird talking about this SAO live action series because I feel like there's people out there that are gonna say, oh, it's gonna be bad because it's not SAO. But then it's like, well, don't you fucking hate SAO? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how are you gonna sit there and be like, oh, this live action series is gonna be bad because it's not gonna adapt the series faithfully? And it's like, dude, you fucking hate the series faithfully. Like, what are you saying? Like, you know? So there's that. But then there's also, I guess, the people that are genuinely worried about the series not being good. I kind of have high hopes. I do think that this live action series from Netflix is going to be, at the very least, the best anime live action project that Netflix is working on so far. Between this and One Piece and Yu Yu Hakusho, and actually I just recently found out that there's a Pokemon live action series that Netflix is adapting, and then there's also the Avatar one, which I'm not really gonna include because, to be honest, I don't really consider Avatar anime, but that's a different topic. Anyway, between all of those, I think this one is actually gonna be the best one because when you think about it, Yu Yu Hakusho and One Piece, those are both worlds and environments that are very unique, that are very anime-esque in both aesthetic and story. You know, you have Luffy, who has these long stretchy arms as his superpowers, and you know, that could look really dumb in live action if they don't do it right. Same thing with Yu Yu Hakusho. You have these characters that are just in this world of Yu Yu Hakusho with these powers and these demons and everything, and you know, we just have to believe in this world. We have to believe that we are watching this world that is on the screen, and it's gotta look good enough for us to believe it, you know? And if they don't do it right, if they're not on their game, if they don't have top-notch story writing, acting, and CG and effects and everything, then it might take us out. We might think it's bad, yada yada, right? But the difference with that and SAO is that SAO's fantastical elements are all in a game. They're all in virtual reality, and outside of the game, it's just the real world. So that's something that, you know, obviously we're gonna believe because it's reality, it's the real world. So they really don't have to do that much when it comes to effects and stuff for the real world. And then when we talk about the virtual reality and the VR gaming aspect, we've seen that already in live action multiple times. We see examples in Black Mirror, and of course we see other examples like in Altered Carbon, where they have the whole digitalization and different things that could easily be considered similarities and comparisons to SAO. You know, holograms and different things like that. I have not personally seen Altered Carbon, but I've seen bits and pieces of it whenever I would catch glimpses of my roommates watching it back in the day. And of course it's been a really long time since that was the case, so I don't remember everything too much. But I do think the creator of Altered Carbon and choosing her to lead this project is a great choice. And it's a great start for this adaptation so far. Last thing I want to get into is the reason why I think this will be the best Netflix live action anime adaptation is because I believe that there's actually a reason for this live action SAO to exist. I do think people will probably look at this series and be like, oh, how are they gonna do the action? You know, because SAO does have very great action sequences. It has great animation for a lot of the fights and a lot of the boss battles and a lot of the, you know, just like I said, the fighting and action sequences. And I think that's something that maybe the live action won't do as well and maybe not focus on as much, but they don't have to. Because I do think that, you know, I've also made a separate video about this topic, but like I said in that video, I think having a reason to kind of watch this live action adaptation as opposed to just watching the anime is a good thing for these live action adaptations, because why else would they exist if you can just watch the anime, you know? Or you can just read the manga, you know. So focusing on a different aspect of SAO, I think would create a good reason for people to want to watch this live action as opposed to just watching the anime. So while the anime may do a lot better when it comes to action sequences and animation and camera angles and all that stuff, this live action series could focus on something more. And maybe that's what Yanko meant when he said they want to take on a darker approach, a more Narcos type of feel, is maybe that this live action show will be a more cynical, realistic approach on a lot of the dark, humane problems that exist in SAO. And yeah, maybe this live action show focuses a lot more on that as opposed to just the fantastical action elements of SAO. Of course, we don't want it to focus too much on that so that it doesn't take away from the core that is SAO and what makes it such a great adventure. But like I said, it doesn't hurt to have a reason to differentiate this live action iteration of SAO as opposed to the novel and the anime, especially when you have darker themes already there and present, and something like this show would just be expanding on them. But yeah, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Definitely let me know in the comments below. Leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, that helps me out a ton. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.